Welcome to Bible for Overcomers. So angels are ministering spirits. And I ask you, have you had encounters before? Perhaps you are unaware of them. You remember when Abraham was there in the desert and he was with Sarah and they're, in the tents, and he's got his flocks and his whole agricultural operation going. And the three strangers come, and they're going to go and they're going to bring fire down upon Sodom and Gomorrah. And of course, Abraham is going to plead with them, with God, for his relation, Lot, and for Lot's family. But these strangers, whom, if you're tuned into God, I guess, you may realize it, or you may realize it later. But there is a verse here in Hebrews. Let's stop for a second. You remember the pool in Bethesda, where an angel came down every now and then and stirred the waters, and whoever of those crippled and sick and ailing people were the first to get in the water were healed. Angels are at work. Now, I'm not one of those that says that every little child has their own angel, or anything like that. But I will say that angels are active in this spiritual warfare. And sometimes they have a direct interest and impact upon us and our walk. So this is a verse here that I don't know how many folks have thought about. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 1. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Let me read that again. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Now, strangers, people that come into your life, this is individual now. This isn't some, now, I'm not going to say it. It should be so obvious. But this is speaking about people that are coming to your life, in your little corner of the world. This is not the same as organized, well-financed, I have to clip my words, what I want to say, forcible Project Babel, invasions of countries with blocks of thousands of people. And I know they all need Jesus. This is not how I'm reading this. I'm talking about strangers that, in the spirit of Ruth, coming and being totally committing herself to the God of Israel, to the God of her mother-in-law, Naomi. Where have strange occurrences, or have they, happened in your life? I was recently, actually very recently, down in Decatur, Alabama, and there we were on our way back up to Tennessee, and we had stopped at the downtown there in Decatur, and there was a fellow that looked me in the eye, and I started having a little conversation with him. I'm very wary of people trying to hit you up for money and all that. Because I know that game, and I, as a young Christian, I would give money out to people that asked, and then I realized you're actually, in many respects, you're just financing their drug addiction. You're financing their alcohol. I remember specifically one time when I lived in North Carolina out on the coast, giving somebody some money because we were headed into a restaurant. It was a smart move to say you're hungry and hang out in the restaurant parking lot, because especially on a Sunday, because people are going to feel real guilty, and that was the game. And I said, well, brother, if there's a grocery store right there, I'm literally going to watch you, and I'm going to give you some money, enough to go get some food. And it's the whole, I swear, blah blah blah, promise you. Well, I waited, and he walked across the street to the grocery store, and he kept looking back. And when we walked in the restaurant, he figured I wasn't looking. Of course, I was just looking out of the window. And he doubled right back and went to the liquor store and took my money, and all I did was further that. I just furthered his addiction. So here I am in Decatur, Alabama. I'm retired, getting ready to come back. It's just before dusk, and there's, you know, a number of people out there at the park right there on the Tennessee River. And this guy said, well, you know, I did a job interview today, and I'm broke. He says, I don't know if I'm going to get this job, but I'm trying. And I thought, yeah, I know, here we go. But anyway, I talked to him a little bit more, and he didn't push it. I went down by the waterside, then we came back up, and we were getting ready to leave. And I don't know, I mean, many Christians say, well, the Lord told me. I'm glad for you, because I'm not in that direct contact with God all the time. But I felt like, okay, it was the right thing to do, to give him a little money that I had. And I gave him a little money. And I said, you know, stay strong, seek God. I said something to that effect. And we left, and this fella, you know, he took the money and put it in his pocket. And as we were pulling out of the parking lot, I looked back, and this fella literally was, I mean, he was tearing up. I'm not gonna say he was sobbing. He wasn't making a big scene, but he was teared up, and he had his face in his hands. And you know, I don't know, but I might have come back in an hour, and that man might not have been there. And it could have been, who knows? Has it happened in your life that let brotherly love continue, for thereby some of us have entertained strangers unawares. Entertained, I know, could mean hospitality in your home, but here I'm talking to them, and to me it's the same context. And we never know. Here where I live in my town, which is one of the fastest growing small cities in the U.S., has been that way for about 20 years per capita. We got all kinds of people coming and going. But there was a fellow who was camped out in the parking lot of one of our grocery stores, and he was in a car. He wasn't totally destitute. He had a phone. Looked like he was absolutely living out of the car. He had his dog with him. And every now and then people would come out and they would give him money before they went home with their food. And I gave him money a couple times, and I would talk to him. And I think he really wanted somebody to talk to more than anything. And for me, my thing is, the conversation's it's got to be interesting, got to be going somewhere. I'm not one to just talk about the weather and sports and things like this. It just doesn't hold me. But I tried to show him some Christian love. You know, that fella, apparently police were allowing him, and the company that owned the parking lot didn't say anything. But that fella just dropped off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to him. And it could have just been a fella that was traveling around. I don't know. But it could have been an angel. And I'm not trying to be, you know, childish or romantic or mythical or anything. I'm not even hitting on the right word. But when we get to heaven, there are going to be many things revealed to us. And maybe we will come into contact with somebody that we helped, or we gave advice to, or we entertained or did something good for, showed them the love of Jesus. Doesn't have to be with money. It could be any way. And we get to heaven, we're going to meet that angel. That's something to think about. Anyway, kind of a different message, just something to, you know, it's straight up Bible though. And there are certainly examples of angels interacting in both testaments with believers. And here, the writer of Hebrews, which many believe is Apostle Paul, I'm not hung up on it because I just say it's the Holy Ghost. He says, the Holy Ghost, God says, let this love, let this brotherly love, this Christian love continue. And remember, these things do happen.